Good morning, everybody. I thought I'd do a walk through the retiring list, which goes live on Tuesday, April the 9th. So that's just next week until April the 30th. And there are some big bargains, 40%, 50%, 60% off some stamp sets and dies. So if you bear with me, I'll just go through and walk you through it and see if there's anything that takes your eye. So first off is the Beautiful Balloons stamp set is reduced by 40% to £13.80, and then Enjoy the Ride is 10% to £20.70. I'm just focusing mainly on the big reductions. So Charming Sentiments, page 18, 50% off £11. 30% off Lazy Days, £16.10. And then 50% off Sweetest Cherries, £8.50. And 50% off Seasonal Branches, which is £12. And the dies also have 50% off, and they're on page 159, and they are here. So 50% off, they're £16. So moving on, Dainty Delight, 50% off £12, and the dies for those are on page 163, and they're 50% off £17. So that's worth bearing in mind. 50% off Handmade Hugs, only £9. And this goes with a punch, which I think, if I'm right, is actually carrying over. No, that one is 50% off £10.50. So £10.50 plus 9, £19.50 for the stamp set and the punch. 20% off Nature's Prints. 60% off Lighting the Way, £8.80. That has dies on page 164, which, if I remember rightly, are 40% off, £17.40. And 40% off Colour and Contour, £12. And there's nothing off the dies as far as I can remember, I'm pretty sure. I'll just quickly check. Oh, 20% off the dies, £26.40. So moving on. This one is going, Sending Smiles, but no reduction. 60% off Pansy Patch, £9.60 instead of £24, and the dies are on page 165, and there's 50% off the dies, £15. So the dies and the stamp set is basically about £24.60, so that's much cheaper than the bundle was originally. 50% off Super Cool, that's £9.50. So Refreshing, 30% off, £16.10. Moving on. 20% off Let's Go Shopping, £18.40. And if I look at page 158 for the dies, as far as I remember, 158, there's nothing off the dies. So that's a lovely little stamp set. 60% off Sweet Citrus, £8.80. 60% off Good Feelings, £9.20. This is a really good big stamp set, which takes up most of the card, just with a few embellishments. Sending sunshine and good feelings your way. You're on my mind and in my heart. I'm just so happy for you. And a big thank you as well, and hip hip hooray. 30% off Two-Tone Flora, £15.40. And then 20% off Petal Park, £17.60. But the punch for this is remaining. 60% off Very Best Occasions. That's a really nice sentiment set. Happy birthday with a little more sparkle and a little less stress. Let's make this Christmas the very best. May your days be happy, your heart be light, your Christmas merry and the new year bright. May you enjoy the warmth of family this season, sending you smiles for every moment of your special day and thinking of you with comfort and love. So really nice sentiments there. Apple Harvest, 60% off, £9.20. 60% off Cottage Wreaths, only £7.20. And the dies, which are on page 63, are 50% off, £18.50. So that's basically £27.70 for the stamp set and the dies to go with it as well. So moving on. 50% off Season of Chic. I love this stamp set. I did it for a craft day. It's just, you've got snowflakes for winter, flowers for summer, spring, seashells for summer, and leaves for autumn. So you've really got everything and some really nice sentiments. And the dies that go with that, I'll see if they're reduced. They're reduced by 50%, £17.50. So basically 10, 20, £30 will get you the stamp set and the dies, and it is a large stamp set as well. Wonderful Thoughts is carrying over. And then we've got Regal Reindeer, lovely Christmas set, 20% off, £18.40. The dies are on page 166, and there's 50% off the dies, £15.50. Brightest Glow, 60% off, £9.60. Perched in a Tree, 50% off, only £11. That's this stamp set here. And the dies are also reduced. They're on page 162, and they are 50% off, £17. So that's half price for the stamps and the dies, which is amazing. 50% off Ringed with Nature, it's only £11. 50% off Celebrate with Tags, it's only £11. Zany Zoo is going but not reduced, but the paper is reduced by 30%, £8.22, and the ribbon 20%, £7.60. The birds are staying, but these chickens are going, but no reduction. The Easter Bunny set reduced by 60% to £7.20. And the punch is on page 148, and the punch is reduced by 40%, £12.60. So basically for £19.80 you can get the stamp set and the punch as well. 60% off Happy Labels, £9.20. 60% off Silly Goose, £9.60. So a lot of stamp sets here for under £10. Little Monkey, this is a bargain, 50% off, £10. And the punch is on page 147, 50% off, £10.50. So for £20.50, you get the stamp set and the punch. And the bundle originally was £36.75, so you're saving £16 there. I'm sad that this set is going because I love it. Hello Kiwi, 50% off, £9.50. Share a Milkshake, 50% off, £9. 50% off Phrases for All, £10. And then Little Dream is only 10% off, £20.70. 60% off the Hello Ladybug, reduced to £6.80 from £17. And the punch is also reduced, if I remember rightly. That's reduced by 50%, £10.50. So basically for £17.20 you get the stamp set and the punch. Happy Hedgehogs, 40% off, £10.20, and the punch is 50% off, £10.50. So that together is £20.70 for the punch and the hedgehogs. 60% off Sweet Songbirds for the stamp set, reduced from £18 to £7.20, and the punch for that is reduced by 50%, £10.50. So basically £17.70 for the stamp set and the punch. Moving on, 50% off Everyday Thanks, that's here, and this is page 60, £11. And 20% off Countryside Corners, £17.60. And sadly, I think actually the dies are staying, in fact. I'll just check page 156. Yeah, the dies are staying, which is really good. And interestingly enough, I think, if I remember rightly, the Designer Series paper is staying as well. But the embossing folder is going, and that's reduced by 20% to £6.40. Lasting Joy, lovely little embellishments here and really nice sentiments. 60% off, £7.60. You'd say, I missed your birthday, and then birthday wishes, and you can interchange those for the outside or the inside of the card. Always thinking of you, hoping for better days ahead. I'm so thankful you're in my life. I'm so sorry you're going through this. I'm so in my heart, goes always in my heart, and may the years ahead be filled with lasting joy. So some lovely sentiments. Quiet Meadow is 60% reduced to £8, and I need to show you these dies because they're unique. Here they are. They're totally different. They're 50% off, £18. So let's see, they're there. Unique flowers, absolutely fantastic. In fact, and they're reduced by 50% to £18. I'm just going to quickly grab some cards to show you done with the dies, which are absolutely lovely on their own, as you can see. Just a warning about the winged creatures here for people who don't like seeing those particular insects. So that's a really good bargain, Quiet Meadow. It's a lovely stamp set with a grungy sort of background stamps and lovely flowers as well, and nice sentiments. Timeless Arrangements is going, no reduction, 30% off Darling Details, £16.10. And the dies on page 156 are reduced by 50% to £17. And they've got these lovely frames, and you can thread ribbon through this one as well. So that's really pretty. 40% off Just My Type, £23 to £13.80. 40% off the Earthen Elegance Designer Series paper, £7 5p from £11.75. Hope and Prayer is reduced by 50% to £9. It's on low inventory at the moment, so you're going to have to be quick to get that. Places in My Heart, 30% reduced to £14.70. And then Time Together is going, not reduced. Country Bouquet, 60% off, £8.80. And there is a punch that goes with that, page 148, which is here. And that's reduced by 50%, £10.50. So the two together are basically £19 for that stamp set and that punch to go with it. And there's a two-step stamping stamp there as well. And this is really useful when it says just wanted to say, and then you can have happy birthday on the inside or happy anniversary or whatever. And then you've got this one, Everlasting Beauty, reduced by 50% to £12.50. If you like colouring, this is a really good one for colouring. If friends were flowers, I'd have the pick of the bunch. A happy anniversary is very useful. This Here's to Love is retiring, I think, or it might be going online, but it's not reduced. That one's staying. The fish one is staying, but the papers here are reduced by 40% to £7 5p. And then the Supremely Awesome with the Chef, 60% to £10. It's a Science, 50% reduced, £22 to £11. 50% off Construction Zone, £11. 60% off Next Destination, really good for scrapbooking and journaling, £9.20. Good for retirement, good for people going on a journey, good for people who like travel for their birthday. Sweet and Precious, no reduction. He's All That, no reduction. Oceanfront reduced by 13% to £14.70. No reduction on that one. 50% on Reach for the Stars, £12. And the dies are reduced to, here they are, they're reduced 10%, £28.80. And then the papers there are reduced by 40%, £7 5p. On the Ocean is reduced by 50% to £11. The bike one is going but not reduced. This one is staying. Enjoy the Rhythm reduced by 60% to £8. Brewed for You is going but not reduced. Level Complete is not reduced. Inked and Tiled reduced by 30% to £18.20. This has got a really nice thank you, happy birthday, congratulations. Good for a beginner, that one. Then if we continue, 60% off In the Moment, £9.20. That one's staying. Layering Leaves. Go To Greetings is going but not reduced. That is a fabulous set. I have that by my desk all the time because it's got 3 different sizes, large, medium, small, for happy birthday, thank you, and just a note and thinking of you. So that's a really good set. 40% Bottled Happiness reduced from £22 to £13.20, and the punch for that is on page 149. The punch is reduced by 40%, £12.60. Bold Bouquet reduced by 50%, £9.50. I'll just see if the dies are reduced. They're on page 155, and they are here, and they're reduced by 60% to £10.80. So basically for £20.30 you can get the dies and the stamp set. Wildlife Wonder, that's really good for men's cards with the bear and the wolf and the owl. Got some Night to a Great Guy, note of thanks. 60%, £9.20. Love this little flower accent there as well. And this one, Scenic Wonders, 60% off, £10. That's a really nice stamp set too. Seaside Bay, 60% off, £10. The dies are on page 166. I'll just see if they are reduced. Seaside Bay, here they are. They're reduced by 60%, £12.80. So that's a very good reduction. Good stamp set for those of us here in the Wirral. So £12.80 So basically that's £22.80 for a very large stamp set, and also the dies to go with it, which is lovely. This is a fabulous stamp set. I've just been doing classes on this recently. The stamp set is reduced by 40%, £13.80, and the dies, which are on page 157, I just quickly looked that up. Basically, they are reduced by 10% to £27, and they're fabulous because you've got the leaves and you've got a torn edge and you've got a journal edge and something for sentiments as well. And these are fabulous background stamps. The papers are reduced by 40%, £7, 5p. Vertical blooms, 60% off, £7.20. Day to remember, 30% off, £11.20. This one's staying in. 40% off Marvellous Nature, £15. 60% off Botanical Layers, £8.80. Your Path Awaits, 50% off, £11.50. Love for You, 60% off, £7.60. And then that one's staying over, Cheerful Daisies. Waves of Inspiration, 60% off, £8.80. And the dies are reduced by 50%, £16. So for basically £24.80, you get this lovely stamp set and the dies as well. These sentiment dies are really nice too, and the clouds as well. Artistically inked, 10% off, £20.70. I'm not surprised because that's a fabulous stamp set. And the dies are on page 162, and the dies are 50% off, £16.50. This is a gorgeous die, this one here, and those leaves are absolutely fabulous. 50% off Prized Plant, £9.50. Softly Sketched, 50% off, £11.50. 60% off Around the Bend, £9.90. The dies are here and they are going, but I don't think they're reduced, and I think they forgot to put them on the retiring list. Alpha Best is not reduced, but it's going. And then we've got the large stamps. So you've got this one, Berry Harvest, reduced by 30% to £13.30. Spiral Die, reduced by 50% to £8.50. Timeless Tiles, 50% to £8.50. And this one, the Snowflake, which is a huge snowflake, which is lovely, 40% to £12. And this one, Perfectly Detailed, 60% to £9.60. And then we just come on to these colours. The in colours that are going out this year, these ones here, are reduced 20%, 30%, 40%. You can just screenshot that if you want to see. They will go very quickly if they haven't gone already, but they'll go within the first few hours of the retiring list going live at 11 o'clock on Monday night. And then we've got here the 11 ink pads in the new core colours, reduced by 30%, £58.80. And the Stampin' Write markers reduced by 40%, £23.10 from £38.50 for 11 markers. And the in colour 20 sheets of the core colour cardstock, £12.60 for the recent, and then 50%, this is 2022 to 2024, £8.75 for 5 markers. And then we've got these boxes, envelope treat boxes, 40% off, £4.50. The treat bags, 40% off, £5.70. The cellophane bags, 20% off, £4.20. And the various speciality papers, you can screenshot that if you want to see 50% off this one, and then you can see what's off there. Delightfully Eclectic, which is 48 sheets of 12 by 12, is 50% off, £14. The Earth and Elegance, 40% off, £7, 5p. Glorious Gingham, 50% off, £5. Inked Botanicals, 40% off, £7, 5p. Let's Go Fishing, 40% off, £7, 5p. Les Shops is 40% off, £7, 5p. You can see it there. And turning over, you've got Masterfully Made, 40% off, £7, 5p. Stargazing, 40% off, £7, 5p. Zoo Crew, 30% off, £8.22. In colour is from £11.75, 30% off, 8.22 it says there, and that's the 2023 to 2025. The 2022 to 2024 is 50%, £5.87. And then the various designer series paper stacks here, you can see there's 40% off, 20% off the subtles, regals 40% off, and the neutrals 40% off, and 20% off the vellum basics, £7.60. This is worth thinking about. I did a craft day with these. Bright and Beautiful Memories More card pack, 40% off, £4.80, and the Bright and Beautiful Memories More cards and envelopes, 50% off, £5.12. 10% off the craft note cards and envelopes, and you get 20 of those, and you get a box as well to put them in. 40% off those decorative masks, the 4 square ones, to £5.70. And embellishments, you can see various amounts off. This is good, 40% off these loose daisy embellishments, £4.05p. And then various, if you can take screenshots of that, you can see various embellishments there. 40% off the iridescent pastel gems, and number 9, which is here. This one, there's 40% off, £4.05p. And then there's quite a few off different ones on this page as well, you can see. Ribbons, you can screenshot that page if you want to see what the amounts are off the ribbon there. Mainly 10 to 40% off those. And here, 40% off the silver threaded twine, which is £4.50. If you like baker's twine, 60% off, £5.60 instead of £14, and you get 5 different colours of the white with those in colours that are retiring this year. And then we've got the various punches, 30% off this one, 30, 40, 50% off the monkey punch, £10.50. And you've got these punches, 50%, £10.50, 50%, £10.50, 50%, £10.50, 40%, £12.60, 50%, £10.50, and the cloud punch, 50%, £10.50. The best trio punch, 40%, £13.80. The cherry builder, 50%, £10.50. Songbird builder, 50%, £10.50. Hedgehog, 50%, £10.50. Sailboat, 40%, £12.60. Ladybug, 50%, £10.50. And the bottle, 40% off, £12.60. And block A is block G is going, and block I is going. So that's that one, block G, and block A is going as well, which is a shame because that's a really useful little block. And then we've got the various dies. If we just get to the dies, going past the bundles, you can see 50% off this one, £13.50, 50% off the Aspen Tree, £17, 40% off the Brood, £13.80, 50% off the Artistic, £16.50, 60% off Brilliant Backgrounds, £12.80, 50% off Chic dies, £7.50, Christmas Pinecone, 60% off, £16.80, 50% off Country Wreath, £18.50, 50% off Dainty Delight, £17, 50% off Delightful Doily, £20, and 60% off Dots and Spots, £12. This one isn't reduced. Really, really useful die. I really recommend you getting it. My coffee's gone cold. But no matter, I managed to get a sip of it. 40% off Give It a Whirl, £22.20. 40% off Gorgeous Garden, £24. 40% off Labels Aglow, £18.60. 40% off Lighting the Way, £17.40. This is the one to think about. 50% off, £18. The Meadow dies, absolutely fabulous. Love for You, 60% off, £12. 50% off Natural Prints, £17.50. If you want a wreath, that's a useful one with some foliage. 60% off On the Ocean, £13.60. 50% off the Pansies, £15. Paper Florist, not reduced, sadly going. 50% off Petal Patterns, £21. And only 10% off Patchwork Pieces. That must have sold well. And you can see 50% off Reindeer, £15.50. 20% off Scalloped Contours, so it was reduced a bit, £26.40. The Sending dies are reduced by 50%, £15.50. That's excellent. 60% off Seaside Bay, £12.80. 60% off Sentiment Silhouettes, £13.20. 60% off Share a Milkshake, £28. 40% off the Stitch with Whimsy, which basically doesn't cut, just embosses with that lovely sort of stitched outline, £16.20. 50% off two-tone flora, $18.50. 50% off the waves, £16. And then 50% off the cascading ruffles 3D embossing folder, $5.12. 20% off the countryside blossoms, $6.40. 30% off geometric patterns, $5.95. 50% off painted posies, $5.12. 40% off stripes and splatters, $6.15. Raindrops 50% off, $4.50. 50% off quatrefoil tile, $4.50. Sweet citrus hybrid, $21.70. And 40% off that one. So there we go. I hope I haven't gone too fast. I'm going to do another video going through the mini catalogue, which will be a lot shorter. But anyway, please let me know if you want to order anything from the annual catalogue. There is a host code as well, which you need to ask me for. If you're going to order online, please could you contact me and ask me for the host code? That would be really helpful. Thanks very much. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye.